Andrea. I've been with you a few times, if you remember me. So I was just looking in your chart and when you're back here today and noticed that you've been recently diagnosed with COPD.
Yeah, I think it was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, well, that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that, but I've also noticed that you have a history of smoking.
Yeah, I do. I've been smoking ever since I can remember, probably about 2 packs a day, I guess.
Wow. Well, is it okay if we talk a little bit about your cigarette usage?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, can you tell me a little bit about, you said you smoke 2 packs a day. Do you feel like there's a pattern at all to how, like when you smoke, or is it just kind of certain times throughout the day?
I've been smoking for a while, but I guess smoking kind of helps me with stress and anxiety, and it's just a habit that I've formed, and it's just something that I do every day.
Okay. So, have you noticed any changes recently? I saw you were diagnosed with COPD. What kind of symptoms or functional changes have you been noticing with that recently?
Well, I've been having a lot of shortness of breath lately, just because I guess my doctor said that's related to the COPD. And I'm also on a new medication. I got to take 2 puffs a day. I think it's albuterol, and I guess that kind of helps with my shortness of breath.
Okay. Have you ever thought about quitting smoking?
Not really.
No? Okay. Well, I was wondering, would you be able to tell me here, there's a readiness ruler, on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being you're not ready to quit and 10 being you're ready to quit right now. Could you rate how you're feeling on that scale?
I mean, I know that everyone tells me that I should quit, but as far as I'm concerned, I feel I'm about a 1.
Okay. And what about your confidence that you would be able to make a change? Could you rate that on the scale of 1 to 10?
Probably about a 1.
Okay. So you don't seem to be very open to quitting. Would it be okay if I maybe gave you some advice and we talked a little bit more about this? Okay. So what are some of your concerns about why you maybe don't want to quit?
I think it's a comfort level. Smoking is something that I've always done, and it helps reduce anxiety, and I've always done it, and I think it also kind of helps with my depression, and it's just something that I've always done, and I think that it helps me.
So are you afraid that if you maybe quit smoking that you might go back into your depression that you were in?
I think so. Just change is like a really big, change is pretty hard to do, so I think it would take a while for it to happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've been doing really great. I know that you were hospitalized a few months ago, but I mean, you've been making some great strides, and I think that, you're making some great lifestyle changes, and that this could potentially be something that's very good for you as well. And, you've got a lot of support here, and there's a lot of different options of things that we can do to help you so that you don't go back into that depression, but you can also make your life a lot healthier. So why do you think that it's important to maybe cut back on your smoking or to quit smoking?
Well, I know it has a lot to do with my COPD, and that's what everyone's been telling me and all the doctors, and I have a niece, and my brother lives here in town, and he hates that I smoke because he says I smoke too much, and he doesn't like me to hang out with his daughter a lot because I'm always smoking and it's bad for her. So I guess if I quit, I'd be able to hang out with her more, and I know that there are benefits health-wise too.
Yeah. So you are wanting to make some health-style change or lifestyle changes, and you think that this could be a good way for you to go about that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you said it is affecting your relationships. Has it affected any of your other relationships, or do you feel like who are your friends? Are you hanging out with people that smoke also?
Yeah, definitely. I think in high school it's kind of when you start smoking, and then everyone that you kind of surround. All my friends smoke, and so I guess that would be something that would be hard to adjust. Is if I'm with people who are smoking, of course I'm going to want to smoke.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we can talk a little bit about some pros and cons of maybe staying a smoker versus maybe trying to quit smoking. So, can you think of maybe some pros of quitting, or what some good things and benefits would be of stopping smoking?
Well, I mean, I'll be able to hang out with my niece more. I think it'll definitely, I mean, I'm sure it'll help my health and the COPD, um, the shortness of breath, and I mean, smoking's pretty expensive, so
Yeah, that's a big one.
saving money.
Yeah, and how do you think your family will react to that? Do you think they would be supportive and beneficial, or do you think it would negatively affect your relationships?
I don't think it would negatively affect my relationships. It'd definitely be a positive thing. My family's always been wanting me to quit smoking, so I just haven't really been active about it. It's just kind of always been, oh yeah, eventually.
Okay. And what are maybe some cons of continuing to smoke if you didn't quit?
I mean, I'm sure the COPD would get worse if I keep smoking, so
Yeah.
just my health.
Yeah. What about you? I noticed you said you had a family history. Your dad died of cancer early. Do you know about the correlation of smoking and cancer?
Um, yeah, a little bit. I know, I mean, I know they're related, but I guess I haven't really thought much about it.
So, I mean, that could be definitely a huge benefit is you reduce your risk of cancer tremendously, or smoking increases your risk of cancer tremendously, and especially if you have a family history, smoking and cutting out that risk factor would be a huge benefit to you. Um, so, okay, I was thinking that maybe we could talk about a plan if you do decide to quit smoking. Have you ever tried to quit smoking or successfully quit smoking in the past?
No.
No, you have not. Okay. Um, what are some of your triggers? Do you feel like that make you want to smoke, or make it so that you feel like it helps calm you, or
I guess stressful situations, and I definitely smoke, and just socially, people I'm around, and then, if I'm bored or just sitting around, it's like, why not smoke?
okay. So maybe do you think we could think of some like things we could do to maybe help you get through those situations, or like do you think that you could, or are you in an environment a lot where there are other people smoking around you, or what's your living situation like as far as that
Um,
goes?
Well, I live alone,
Okay.
so I guess it's just me at home, so I guess the boredom kind of plays a role, and then when I go out, or I'm hanging out with my friends, a lot of them smoke, so that could probably trigger it too.
Okay, well, can we maybe think of like some other options of what you could do to kind of alleviate your boredom, or to help you whenever you do get the urge to smoke? Like maybe chewing gum instead of, carrying a pack of gum around, and pulling out a piece of gum and chewing that whenever you feel the urge to smoke. Have you ever tried that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, like I've heard that a lot of people, that works well for a lot of people, or sucking on like a piece of hard candy or something like that, just to kind of give your mouth and you something to do instead of smoking. There's also a lot of products like nicotine gum or nicotine patches that you could try to help kind of reduce that as you're helping yourself wean off. Um, do you think that maybe it would help to not have like your tobacco products and lighters and stuff around the house?
Probably. I should probably get rid of those. I think that would be a big thing. If I didn't have it, out of sight, out of mind. So
Yeah.
definitely that would be one.
Okay. Well, if you're after this, let's maybe try and set some goals. If you do decide to quit, what are some? If we say, okay, maybe 2 weeks from today, you will stop smoking. So I know that sounds really soon and kind of crazy, but if you just maybe kind of start cutting back and implementing some of these other options, you can maybe try and cut back on your smoking. So do you think, like, what could be a goal for like a week from today that maybe you could have accomplished?
Maybe by the end of this week, I'll try and cut back. So maybe instead of 2 packs a day, maybe I'll try and do a pack a week, and then slowly do it from there.
That's a good idea, and maybe start like, carrying around some chewing gum or something,
Mhm.
just so whenever you do want to cut back and you have that urge to smoke, you can just try, the alternative thing instead of smoking. And what about maybe your friends? What could you do when you're out with your friends?
I mean, I guess I could just tell them that I'm quitting smoking first off, and I think my friends would be pretty supportive of it. I don't think they'd start pressuring me. I think the decision would be mine, so it's all about, me and what I expose myself to.
Yeah, if you have a support system, that would be huge. Also, maybe think about when you're out with your friends, just asking them to not smoke around you. If they will just step outside to smoke their cigarette or whatever, so that you're not directly exposed or watching that with them. Okay, so can we go back to this readiness ruler? And on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being not now and 10 being right now, how do you feel that you're ready to maybe make a change in your life?
Um, I think I'm about a 4 or 5.
Okay.
I'd say that I'm ready to cut back, but I don't know that I would be able to fully quit at this point.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's a big improvement. At least you're, starting to think now about, maybe what the benefits would be of quitting, and not just so much thinking that you can't do it, but understanding that maybe that you can. Um, how confident on this scale of 0 to 10 are you that you would be able to make that change successfully in your life?
I think I'm about a 7 or an 8. I hadn't really thought about actually quitting before today, so, thinking about cutting back, I'm pretty sure I would be able to do that.
Okay, well, yeah, I think we've come up with some really good ideas for you to maybe try and to help you accomplish that. And I think that you have some really good ideas and some really good support system, it sounds like. So I think that's really great. I was just wondering, do you think it would be okay if we maybe made an appointment in 2 or 3 weeks to see, how this week of cutting back and maybe next week of completely quitting would be, how that's going for you, and if maybe we need to edit this in between. But yeah, I'm very proud that you're able to, decide to make this change, and I understand that it's a very, it's a comfort thing, and it's very difficult to make that big of a change in your life. But I think that you're making steps in the right direction, and you understand what the benefits would be and how it can definitely improve your life and your health. So thank you.
Thank you.